I just briefly touched on, these people, we have celebrities, see this person or that. We literally ran campaigns throughout the 90s where John Travolta would say, okay, I'll go to Washington, and he would literally set up meetings with the Secretary of State, with deputies, with Congress people, with senators, and we would get reports that, him walking down the hall in Congress, that every secretary and, for every congressman would create a scene. And, you'd have Congress people wanting to get his autograph. And it wasn't just, that's just one aspect of all the different celebrities that were used. From the late 1980s, we hired the biggest PR firm in Washington, D.C., the most politically connected, and we paid extra premium to have the Dean of Public Relations in the United States of America, Bob Gray, personally handle our account. And he spent years going through and running these same sort of propaganda lines, or these same public relation lines, on a one-to-one level with cabinet members, with senators, with Congress people. And it was a many-year program that it went over. I can give you one example. I was telling Mrs. Caberta this morning, as an example, Bob Gray, the kind of clout he had. We had a problem with visas in the United States for Europeans who would come to be staff members. They can only stay for a certain amount of time. We didn't qualify for these more extended visas. So I called Bob Gray. He set up a meeting with the head of Immigration and Naturalization, which was a cabinet position at the time under Reagan in the 80s, or Bush. I think it was Bush, the first Bush. And we literally went straight up to the office, sat down across from the guy who's from California, and he and I just talked about football games and just the fact that we felt we needed to be qualified to get that. The next week, I got a call from Bob Gray. It's all handled. And something we'd been fighting for 10 years through litigation and all this other business, handled. That's how business is done in Washington. That's how business is done in America. Money can buy you anything. The first part, I came here because I was invited by Mrs. Caberta to give facts about the top highest levels of the Church of Scientology. And the second part of your question, yes, I still practice Scientology, and one of the things that that I learned through talking to Mrs. Caberta is that she's had the same observation I have. There's been a tremendous proliferation of people leaving the organization because they're getting educated that they don't need the organization. It is not a monopoly. Miscavige is not the Pope. He doesn't have a beeline to God who's giving him new scripture that's going to take them to higher levels, and people are understanding that more. But the thing that we agreed on is this: there's this whole phenomena happening where people are using Scientology in what we call the independent field, away from the church, unauthorized by the church. And no matter, this is it's not organized. It's also known as the free zone in Europe. There's no organization to it. And the interesting thing is that all the people that I have that I've encountered or come into contact with who left the organization to use Scientology on a one-to-one basis all agree on certain things. And Mrs. Caberta told me she studied the free zone in Germany and in Europe and came to the same conclusion, and that is this: everyone you find outside of the church who continues to use Scientology left Scientology because they don't agree with people being forcibly disconnected from their families. They don't agree with people being put into extremely painful financial situations. They don't agree with people who have a different opinion being attacked, being harassed, and being hounded. They don't agree on virtually all of the things that the ministry, through Mrs. Caberta, investigate, which are the abuses of Scientology. So, but that's why this is not unusual that we're sitting here together.